So at the start of Season 3, I wasn't really as confident in this character as I probably should have been. I think he did become a small bit weaker, you know, overall, because he lost the broken, fuzzy mix-up snap loop that a lot of people had in Season 2. And he also lost, like this for example, was a much more broken neutral tool. But, in terms of how this game is, comparatively, I think he's actually a really strong character. And I'm a really big Fat Buu believer now, which, I mean, is to be expected. I main the character, so obviously I'm gonna overplay my character a little bit from pure bias. But I think that if you play him properly, this might be a top 10 character, like base Vegeta, like base Goku, like Kid Buu. And I'm gonna go over why I think so, and make a general overview of the character. So, strengths first. Number 1 is this fat throw mechanic. This is super broken. So to describe the fat throw mechanic and what it is, let's look in the game at 4 different states. Neutral, pressure, combo, and knockdown. Normally, how the game progresses is you play neutral at round start, and they either block something or get hit. And if they block, you start staggering or mixing people. If they get hit by a stagger or by something else in neutral, you get a combo, and once you end the combo, they are put in a knockdown. These are the 4 states of the game, as I'm going to put it. Eventually, when you get to the knockdown phase, opponents have options. They have stuff like Spark on block, they have stuff like Reflect, they have delay tech up to 30 seconds, a lot of characters have an air DP. There are many different ways opponents can get out of knockdowns in this game. However, what the fat throw mechanic allows you to do is get a combo, end it in the fat throw, and the opponent will be restanded. If you don't know what this is a fighting game term literally meaning at the end of the combo they will be standing up. Now what this does is it completely removes their option to hold down for a down tech, to hold back for a back tech, to hold up for an up tech. They have no tech options. They can't reversal out like with a DP or something because the gap will be too short. Or because you cross them up, for example, they will not be able to get the input out. In other words, it is one of the most effective ways of killing one of the most effective defensive options in the game, which is the sliding knockdown. So because Fat Buu has a way of killing the game itself, in a sense, this is the main reason people would play this character. This is the main unique thing about him that is attractive to many people. Number 2 is General Okizeme. Okizeme is a fighting game term that basically literally translates to wake up, and it refers to how good a character's options are when the opponent is waking up. Fat Buu can kill wake-ups super well in the corner because he has a fat throw. I know, we were just talking about this literally a second ago. But basically, you throw this out and it will hit them meaty. Meaty just means before they can do anything. You can use this to cover their sliding knockdown and then call assist. And now you get a mix-up off every knockdown that covers all the tech options. Which basically just means that in addition to getting it for half a bar, mid-screen for example, off of a restand, you can, for 0 bar, spend an assist and get a high-low mix-up in the corner that catches every tech option. It's really, really useful. In addition, his level 3 mix-ups are also really good, which we will talk about in another video, but essentially, basically he has a lot of ways to cover people's wake-ups. Number 3, meter build. As long as Fat Buu makes it to the corner, you can loot people and gain just about 2.5 bars off of any combo. So as you can see, that one netted me almost 2. With assists, you can get about 2.5, maybe a little bit more. If you optimize, you're going to guaranteed get at least a bar mid-screen. And in the corner I already mentioned. So he can be a solid battery for a team, which is useful because generally Fat Buu is going to be a point character, and having a point character that can build meter for your second character to, let's say, spam an EX move or use a super like a level 3 for a mix-up is very useful to have, so that helps his composition a little bit. Number 4 is neutral. Fat Buu's neutral is actually exceptional. It's quite good. He's tied for the fastest startup Ki Blast in the game with Teen Gohan and Kefla. They are 11 frame startup at point blank. He has 3 different angles for his jump special, which are very useful at covering this angle of the screen, which is very hard to snipe. So the first Ki Blast and the last Ki Blast go at the same angle. The second one goes a little bit higher, and the third one goes a little bit lower. It almost feels like a shotgun spread. So it's very useful at controlling a lot of different areas of space. They don't do much damage, but they're very hard to contest, and even if someone tries to super dash you, actually quite hard to contest him when he's throwing Ki Blasts up here because he can cancel into this move and get a pretty decent punish. Majin Buu also has the biggest air buttons in the game. This is almost as big as Piccolo's. This is one of the biggest JMs in the game. It's absolutely massive, really good for cross-ups, but more importantly than that, very good for air-to-airing people. You can basically just approach with this as haphazardly as 21's tail. It's quite a non-committal move to approach with. And he also has these big, very big jumping heavies. This one with an air dash goes almost full screen and is also really useful. It has like a base Vegeta Ki Blast angle to stop approaches like this, whereas the jumping 2H goes like this and is more like a GT Goku beam angle, but is actually very safe on whiff if I can get it properly. It's -40 on whiff, but you can cancel it when it touches the ground, so as you can see it's more like -32, which is actually really good. Like, a lot of people's mediums are much less safe on whiff than 32 frames, like this for example, and most of the time these go completely unpunished if they're not looking to punish them. If you're really adamant about needing plus frames, you can also at mid-range use this to jail into vanish, but you have to buffer it, which basically just means if they predict it or see it coming or even just react to it and they reflect, you're at a loss, because a lot of characters can definitely punish that vanish after. So, be careful. As for a slightly more gimmicky thing he can do, he can use this to sort of approach people from full screen, where he calls an assist and gets in this way. You can also super dash after it, but I think they can 2H you, maybe, so don't try it. But this is very useful because this fat throw will eat other Ki Blasts and also leave you plus from full screen. So you can get in like this, for example, and it would be a true block string. At a lot of distances, this is actually a true block string. There are a lot of instances where this is actually quite helpful, and you can just get a mix-up in neutral like this. And lastly, if that wasn't enough, he is also the only character in the game, I believe, to have a unique super jump and jump falling speed. Now it makes sense because he's a big balloon that he would fall slower than other characters, so let's compare him to Gotenks. Watch how slow he falls and watch how slow Fat Buu falls. It's slight, but you can notice a difference. And what this does is, combined with his great air-to-air options, it makes him really easy for him to stall in the air like this and just wait for people to come at him with a super dash or something like that. So it's extremely difficult to approach him when he's just sitting at this end of the screen waiting for you to do something. Number 5 is he got a damage buff this patch, which is less of a strength and more of a correction of a weakness he used to have. But basically, his old combos would not deal very much damage. So this would be about the percent they used to do before. And this is how much that same combo would do after, now that they just added the ability to combo into his 5M. It's actually quite a noticeable difference. And even though his corner combos already did pretty decent damage, this 5M buff also made it so that he had more damaging assist combo routes such as these. And using these routes, he's actually a real threat in the corner. Number 6 are his assists, and these are a little bit nuanced. We're going to talk about them a little bit later in the same video, but his assists are pretty good for certain team synergy. So if you like an assist that starts behind you for defensive use, Majin Buu A is actually really good. It's quite fast. It's 25 frames startup. It has a decent amount of hit stun. As you can see, it's really easy to confirm off of it, right? Assist starting behind you is very important, because if they start behind you, they can't get jabbed out on your minus frames, for example. So let's say you're doing a block string with a character and you want to end your pressure, but you call this assist. So if they try and jab you out, you will just get a free combo, and that's the end of it. Having an assist like this is actually extremely important because of the rise of UI Goku. Now, UI Goku is all over the place, and if there's one assist that you see a lot of recently, it's UIA. So having an assist that is unkillable right behind you to stop approaches or take back pressure, having this sort of defensive utility, is really useful in the meta right now, because a lot of people are really abusing assists like UIA or DP assists to stop approaches. So having an assist like this is a good thing to have. But sadly, I don't think it's as good as those assists, so it's really more like a cheaper version. The real meat and potatoes of what happened to his assist is actually his C assist. If you don't like C assist, you can basically just skip this portion of the video completely. But essentially, what his C assist used to do and still does is it's a air invincible cartwheel, which it is. The actual move is as well. The problem with this assist was it had low block stun for all the cooldown of a C assist, and it only really went on the ground. However, this issue was completely fixed because now it catches jumping characters. And just to get a better example, let me show this off. The reason this is good is because having an assist that will immediately track to anywhere you are is extremely useful for characters' combos when they need a Dragon Rush at a certain spot. It's extremely useful for catching people jumping, which is extremely important. This is exactly the reason that GT Goku Beam was so powerful in Season 2, was because it completely shut down people's ability to jump and be in the air, which is a really important thing for the neutral of this game. So having an assist that is completely unstoppable when you jump, especially because even in the air, it will retain its anti-air ability. So if they try and jab, they will get completely beaten out and you will get a free combo, which basically just means it's completely uncontestable. Basically, this assist is just really broken, so if you like C assists, I would run this assist a lot. Onto the weaknesses of the character, and this one should come fairly obviously. It's team building. Now, as you can see, I have two very specific assists behind me in this occasion. This is the team I have been running for a little bit now, especially when Gotenks wasn't nerfed, when he had the really broken EX punches. But aside from that, these assists fill very specific requirements that I was looking for to play Majin Buu. These specific requirements can probably turn a lot of people off from playing him, because a lot of people just like characters that will go anywhere, that have a lot of utility just by themselves. So when you have to put a huge emphasis on team building and you constantly feel like you're in a character crisis, a lot of people are not going to be attracted to a character like that. Especially considering a lot of people already are in character crises ever since Season 3 started. All the characters in the game are really fun right now, and most characters are viable. So the fact that it's hard to team build with him, for example, like you're trying to team build the perfect Fat Buu team, you want to get an assist that's good with the Fat Throw mix-up, you want to get an assist that also gives him really good block mix-up, so you want it to have good block stun, but also you want it to be fast, because you want it to be able to snipe people and win scrambles, but also you want a neutral assist, because Majin Buu has low priority Ki Blast, and you want to have a beam. Basically, it all gets very convoluted, and people don't want to deal with that. Number 2, and one of the reasons he is has bad team building in general, is he's greedy. He likes assists. He wants to be able to use assists. This is common for most point characters, but if you look at top tier point characters, a lot of them are also really quite useful on their own. Majin Buu is a little bit less useful on his own than a lot of the top tier characters in this game. So I feel like this is an issue when a lot of people are playing the game and are all about that Z Broly solo command grab mix-up. They're all about that 21 solo level 3 mix-up. They're all about that Gotenks Ghost Oki mix-up. They all want characters that have stuff by themselves, and even though Majin Buu has a good level 3, a lot of the things that people would play him for are because the assists are helping him do it. And that is something that people don't like. Number 3 is execution. Now, a lot of people who hear this think hard combos, and while it is certainly true that a lot of people find loop combos, for example, quite challenging, like I just dropped it right there because I suck, they're not really like that easy, but the real difficulty is in his mix-ups. A lot of the time to get a good, in quotes, mix-up with Fat Buu, you have to really lab the timing so that people can't use their defensive options, because that's important. That's part of the reason people play this character. They want someone that breaks defensive options, but as you can see, I just mistimed the setup. So having difficulty performing the task that you want your character to fulfill is annoying. People want consistency. So people that aren't willing to put in the extra bit of work to learn how to do these mix-ups or get consistent with them are not going to want to pick this character, because it's effort to do these things. It's effort to have his strengths. And I'm not saying this from like a condescending perspective. I'm a Fat Buu player. I can do these things and you can't. It's just this is a reason people will not play this character. Number 4, this is quite obvious just by looking at him, but he's a big boy. When you're fat in a fighting game, Fat Buu is obviously fat. That basically just means you're bigger, and when you're bigger, that means you get hit by more things. So let's say Fat Buu is doing all this stuff in neutral, the opponent is doing all their fucking crazy GT Goku beams and shit, and he's spamming Ki Blast and he's doing all these things. Majin Buu, because he's bigger, will get hit by a lot more of those things, and thus you will lose neutral a little bit more with Majin Buu. Like I said, he has good neutral, but he also will lose it a lot more. So, keep that in mind when playing him. Another thing that is a problem when you're a big character is if your opponent is good enough, they have character-specific big body combos down, you'll get hit by those, and more often than not, those will do more damage. So you will also be taking more damage than other characters when you lose that neutral. So to play a big character, you got to keep these things in mind. Before, we used to have fuzzies and like big character-specific mix-ups, but we don't really have that anymore, so I'm not going to include that. And number 5, this is really the only weakness that I'm personally dissuaded by when playing this character, but he doesn't really have good anti-reflect. So this is a basic anti-reflect string with Majin Buu. Basically, it just means that if they want to reflect this standing heavy, they will have to reflect twice. Now, obviously, this is all well and good, but a common strategy in this game is reflect tag, which... So as you could see there, he reflected my jab and then tagged in Majin Buu and I got hit. Now, the problem with this is a really, really common tactic in high-level play. And a lot of characters in this game can kill both of these options. So Gotenks, for example, right there can just block it. Other characters, if they get hit by this jab, for example, they will get hit by the medium and they will just die because the tag won't even come out, they'll just get hit. Majin Buu not having even this being safe from it is a little bit of a problem for me personally. I like characters that are able to do things like that. I like being able to kill that option personally. So this could be looked at as more of my personal gripe, but if it's my personal gripe, it might also be other people's, so I figured I'd include it. Now, the best setup I've found, or I think someone else found this, I think it might be Aliun, has been doing in order to stop this, is when they do anti-reflect, they will instead do a string like this and then hit confirm. So instead of immediately doing the standing heavy after, they will have the Ki Blast hit the opponent, and this will only single reflect. The Ki Blast will hit them way too fast, and it will graze their body, and it will allow you to cancel. So if you see them tag, you can 2H it. If you don't see them tag, you can just 5H. Or, better yet, you can keep shooting Ki Blasts, and it should beat out the next thing they do. Which, to be honest, it might work on Reflect Tag too, like it just did there. But basically, not having this really autopilot dumb way of having anti-reflect tag is a little bit of a problem when it's a really common thing and it can get on people's nerves. I know it gets on my nerves, so that's why I'm including it as a weakness. Also, just a little side note, you don't have to have the perfect Majin Buu team to play this character. Restand is cool, but you really don't need a restand assist when he already has neutral, Oki, block mix combos, and all that other stuff. So really, you can get away with running these quote-unquote suboptimal Majin Buu teams, especially when his support is really good right now. You can really just make him work as a character without maximizing him, really. So the team building issue is only an issue if you're really looking to main him instead of just play him. But regardless, yeah. In summary, Fat Buu is a one-of-a-kind character that specializes in bullying people in the corner. That's right, you fat fuck, I'm bullying you. And forcing Spark. He also has above-average neutral corner carry, damage, and meter gain. The damage only happens in the corner. He has the biggest air buttons in the game. He has a significant team building flaw if you're looking to completely maximize the character, and a weakness to reflect, but he kills plenty of other system mechanics to make up for it, and he can be a splendid addition to your team. I think he's a top 10 character. So I think this is the most accurate, up-to-date interview of the character so far. I think other guides have been made recently, but as far as character overviews go, I think this is the latest one I've seen. If you or somebody you know wants to pick up this character, show them this video, see if they still want to. They probably won't. That's all the info I got. See ya!